Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 617. How to not commingle funds. Definitely thankful for everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. We just want to thank everybody that's going to be attending the actual workshop in Orlando. What is that? In Chicago on October 26th. Actually, have most of the room packed out right now. So really excited and thankful for that. We have a family, and then we have a group that's being bussed in now. So we actually are really excited, really thankful for the event. Having Brent there speaking on how to utilize the insurance policies. Once again, Tiffany being there for support and making it a point to organize the event as the Advantage Advisory Group founder. Really thankful for her finding people that really want to change their lives, really fortify their positions. So looking forward to that. Definitely excited about that. But this is an episode today that comes to us a lot. I get a lot of trustees that you know they say, "Oh man, I want to know how not to commingle funds." And this is one of those things where you just got to really pay attention to this one line. It's called Trust Christian. Own nothing, control everything. And so what happens is we get into a situation where, you know, you get trustees on the line, you ask them, oh, what are the things you can't do in trusteeship? And then they'll say, oh, commingle funds, or I can't self-deal. Well, okay, well, self-dealing and commingle funds are in the same category, okay? So let's talk about this self-dealing and this commingling the fund stuff, because this is something that just seems like it's a major misnomer to trustees when they just don't do their own research here. We could call you all kind of lazy, because you all don't do the research properly. This is something you definitely want to do the research on. You want to become very adept on what commingling looks like. A lot of trustees say, "Oh man, well, aren't you supposed to do that? You're the trustee trainer." Yeah, but you only got to remember two things, and if you don't remember those two things, there is no help. It's up to you to learn what commingle is, not be lazy and say, "Well, it's self-dealing." No, it's commingling of funds. The commingling of funds comes from people that want to use company funds for business for personal funds. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. This is where you got the employees with the trustees, you got the employees with the business people confused and mixed up. For all of you all that have employee mentality, this is one of the biggest hangups for them. The biggest hangups is, oh, well, how do I not commingle funds? If everything is a business expense, where can you commingle the fund? But y'all want to think, but if you thinking in your head, you need something personally. What do you need? An undershirt? How can a trustee do his job or her job if they're on the road and they don't have an undershirt? It's not hard to create what's called a business expense. There are fringe benefits. If you're not taking a salary as a trustee, why do you need personal money then? Because you're thinking about personal stuff. You haven't separated business from personal. You haven't separated the fact that the entities are separate people. But guess what? Most people aren't aware of that because they got a public trust. Just like this social security number. Just, it's my social. Every time we get online with trustees, they could be in the program for a year, 2 months, 3 months. My social, my social. That's all they keep saying is my social. I have a social. If you have a social security insurance number, it's a welfare number. How are you saying you want to focus on building wealth and trusteeship, but you focused on social security number activities? This is the mentality. This is the conversations that we have. They're focused on, once again, how is the trust going to pay for my what? Pay for a car? The company can have a car. The company can have a uniform. Are you wearing it? That's the question. Most trustees, they don't want to take the time out to create a uniform for the trust. How are you going to the whole program is about training and successor trustees. How are you going to train a successor trustee if you don't have a uniform for the trust? so the trustees can wear, and so they don't have to think about what clothes they have to wear as a trustee. If you have a job, there's a uniform. Give them the uniform. The entity pays for the uniform. Oh, we got another episode for you, especially about starting a business with no money. Like, there's so many trustees that come and say, how do I start a business with no money when I don't have any money? Every business was started with no money. Oh man, these guys, they got handouts and all this other stuff. Everybody wants to talk about that type of mentality. First of all, you have to have human capital just as much as you have financial capital. So we're going to do another episode about who you need on your team, who's the most valuable people on your team. But let's stay on this subject for right now, which is how to not commingle the funds. This is something that we sit on the line. Trustee could be in the program for over a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, and they still asking the same question. How do I pay for things myself? How do I get things in my name? Trying to do fraudulent transfers. Commingle funds. What do you have a social security for if you're in the wealth building business? Y'all forgot about that? Y'all think y'all supposed to be operating with a social security number if you're focused on wealth building? Social security doesn't come up in the conversation with wealth building. So let it go. Oh, trust Christian. No, hold on. No, hold on. I put money in that. Shouldn't I get money out? Right. But when you focused on business mentality, there is no contributing to Social Security. You don't need it. You've created your own pension plan, your own death insurance plan. You put your own estate plan in place with the insurance. How many families have done that? That's why they got a Social Security number, because they didn't plan. They're not planning. They just go into somebody else's job and they just gonna work until they die, or work until they get Social Security number, live off $1,500 a month. What's $2,000 for a single bedroom apartment? Who wants to own a house in your 30s and 40s, and then by the time you're 60, you didn't save enough money, so you drive an Uber or Lyft, and then you got to go get in some apartment and get $2,000 from Social Security every month? How you gonna live off that? Where's all that conversation y'all had about traveling the world, sitting on the beaches of the world? What, you sat on the beaches in your 30s and 40s, and then all of a sudden you ran out of money? That didn't sound like a sound financial plan. So a sound financial plan is not commingling the funds. It's understanding you have to build an asset, which is a business. An asset, which is a business. A commodity, which is a business. They still are businesses. Somebody's selling it, so it's a business. Somebody's producing it, it's a business. Are you guys producing anything? Are you selling anything? Are you making sure that company funds stay company funds? Company cell phone. We sat in front of this one individual recently, and this how you know they got an employee mentality, because they thinking about themselves. What's the purpose of trusteeship? You're supposed to provide benefit for the beneficiaries. But guess what? Most people, they're not focused on giving the next generation money. They're focused on themselves. Y'all don't want to hear that. Most people don't want to hear that. Oh man, I think about my family. I think about my friends. I think about my family, making sure they set up properly. So commingling funds shouldn't be hard for you. It shouldn't even be a question of what commingling funds is going to look like, because every financial decision that you make as a trustee is going to be focused on how is this going to benefit. How is this going to be paid for by the trustee, by the trust system? And second of all, how is this going to set up for the benefit of the beneficiary? What are we talking about here? Commingling funds. Oh man, how do I get money out of the trust? Let's talk. That's how they talk. That's what they say. How do I get money out of the trust? Man, it's so hard, man. I didn't want to do nothing for a minute or a few days. I didn't want to do nothing for a week, because once I put the assets in the trust, I can't get them back out. What are you scared of? Yourself? Once they're in a separate entity, they're protected. Did you miss that part? Oh man, somebody could sue me, Trust Christian of all. That's one, that part's true. You can be sued out of it. Second of all, people can still see the asset in your name. They can see the assets in your name. So you can be sued out of the asset. It's that simple. What? What are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? You want assets in your name? Why? Because you've been trained that way? Trustees have been trained to own nothing, control everything. Going through our program at the Vault, Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. How do you not commingle funds? You focus on business, ladies and gentlemen. You focus on building a business. You focus on that the entity is separate from yourself. A lot of people, they own a LLC, they own a C Corp, so they think that they own the trust. This is the question you all have to ask yourselves as trustees. Who owns the trust? And until you can be clear in your mind who owns the trust, ladies and gentlemen, then it's going to be a challenge for you. This question has come up multiple times. Who owns the trust? Who owns the business? This is the difference between an employee mentality and an owner mentality, or the business owner mentality, or the entrepreneur mentality, or the investor mentality. What's the difference? Well, if you work for the company, you're taking company funds. If you're the manager of the company, if you're the trustee of the company, you're not doing anything for your own benefit. You're doing it for the benefit of the beneficiaries. It's a business expense from that point forward. That's it. Don't commingle the funds. They're business expenses. What's a business expense? I thought y'all wanted to go private. Y'all say y'all want to go private. Oh, we trying to go private, Trust Christian to vote. So you're trying to go private, but then you don't fully commit to going private. Because when you fully commit to going private, that means that you understand that the assets now are private, that they're going to be private, that you don't want to own them, that you don't want to have any liability on them. But instead they walk around with these adhesion attachments, not even arm's length distance attachments. Trust Christian is so hard. Why is it so hard to not title things in my name? Because you just didn't learn to go to a title company and learn that a title company is your best friend. To learn how to clear title, to learn how to check title. That's it. How you not commingle funds? You focus on business. Then there's no commingling. Oh man, I need to get the money out from my personal stuff. Okay, can you take a loan from the company? See how that sounds, ladies and gentlemen? When you listen this far into the episodes, not financial advice or legal advice, can you take a loan from the company? Is that in the operating agreement? Is that in the minutes? Can you take a loan? Can the trustee take a loan? Then it's not taking money from the entity. It's a loan. You hear how that sounds? Oh man, Trust Christian. Oh, I didn't know it was that simple, but it sounds so complex. It's just so complicated with all this trust stuff. I'm trying to learn it, and I don't want to mess up. That's my biggest issue, is I don't want to mess up with the accounting. So don't attach money to a social security bank account. Well, hold on. The trust account got open like that. No, but the trust, who owns the trust? Let's talk about it. Who owns the trust? If it's the trust account, who owns the trust? So then, what happens when you put capital in the trust account? It's not your money. Who owns the money at that point? The trust. That's how you not commingling funds. Well, Trust Christian, say I wasn't a good financial steward that month, and I overfunded the trust. I put too much in there. So when we talk about a loan, are loans taxable? See how we had those conversations where you stay in a non-liable position? Are the loans taxable? Are loans taxable? Do you get taxed when you when you get a loan for a mortgage? No. Why do you get taxed? Why don't you get taxed on those loans? Because that's the law, that's the rules. So learn how to get money in the insurance policies. Learn how to get the policies. Learn how to be a quality trustee in the private. Oh man, Trust Christian, that ain't as easy as it sounds, man. I got a real business. I got a life over here. I'm working every single day. This is what they tell trustees tell us. How y'all so busy working the public, but you say you want to go private? If you want to go private, you gotta dedicate the time. You gotta put the time in. Simple as that. Trust Christian, sometimes I don't really have nothing to do. Well, we got the bank account open, but what are we supposed to do? You're supposed to study. That's what you're supposed to do. Oh man, Trust Christian vote. Really? First of all, you have assets, right? Right. Okay. You have to learn new processes and procedures on how to protect those assets, how to grow those assets. This is common conversation. It's that simple. It's how do you grow the assets? You're older now. You're 20, you're 30, you're 40. Oh man, I acquired some assets under my belt, Trust Christian, but I'm a little but what am I supposed to do? You have to learn. You have to learn. There's process. What they say is levels to this. It's levels to wealth building, baby. We're not all high net worth investors. They got ultra high net worth investors. They got billionaires. Everybody doesn't do the same thing. Okay. So we need to associate. We need to learn and we need to associate. How do I not commingle funds? I have to get around better asset managers. That's why you go to the workshop in Chicago, so you can get around better asset managers. Oh, Trust Christian. Everybody on the ticket at this point, everybody on the ticket, even Dr. Bay, has been in estate planning, is in trust. Everybody on the ticket. You have to be around people that are in trusteeship and live in it. That's how you don't commingle the funds. Because when you're around your family members, that they over here dipping and diving into their savings, they dipping and diving into their 401ks, they dipping and diving into the IRAs, they dipping and diving into the equity, into the properties. Because they didn't separate the business from the person. See how they dipped into instead of taking a loan out from it? How do you get taxed on something if you take a loan out on it? And you're not taking a loan out from yourself, it's coming from the family estate. So now you're putting the family. This is what y'all don't want to hear. You got to take the risk against your assets. You got to bet on yourself. The family estate has to bet on you. You got to come to the conclusion that, hey, you know what? Out of the 401k, out of the equity, out of the IRA, the family estate is going to have to bet on me not failing right now. What? They got to bet on you not failing? That's what the family estate's got to do. They got to take out a loan. A loan. The family estate's got to take out a loan. You heard that? Trust Christian, where we going to get the money from? The family estate has to take out a loan on you. Has to take out a loan for you. So you can get your education up. So you can associate with the right people. We look forward to seeing y'all at the workshop. How to not commingle funds. Association is critical. Finding experts, having the right counsel, throwing out your ideas. You have to have proper mentorship. So when you have proper mentorship, when you have proper counsel around you, you can ask them questions. That's how you don't commingle funds. Like if you purchasing everyday stuff, not so much the issue. But when you start getting into this, okay, we're purchasing bigger items, 5,000, 10,000, business equipment, over $10,000. Once again, you have signatory power. Who has signatory power? Who has signatory power? How do you guys sign as a trustee? Do you guys sign as a restricted signature or unrestricted signature? We talk to trustees about this as soon as they get a trustee training program. This is a learning education program. So, once again, how do you not commingle funds? You double check with a senior, with a superior, with a counselor, with an advisor. Hey, you're making a purchase over 3,000, 5,000, or 10,000. Is this considered commingle? What's wrong with having counsel around, ladies and gentlemen? An expert around. Why not reach out via email? Trust Christian Vote. Hey, Trust Christian, great to do this real quick. Does this sound like it's legit? Does it sound like something that's going to compromise? Does it sound like something we're going to lose from? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen. That's the question. Do you have a team around you? Are you educating yourself? We sit in educational classes almost every week now. Because the high net worth investors are investing actively right now, very actively, and we're sitting here with deals in front of them. And so we're seeing the team, the questions that you can ask, the conferences you can go to. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay, listen to how to not commingle funds. Christian at trustchristian.com. This is for the trustees. Trustees ask this question all the time. Listen to this episode thoroughly, making sure that you're signing it properly, making sure that you're making business decisions. You got to set reminders for yourself. This is business, not personal. Get out of your feelings. Oh man, trust Christian, it's hard to make a hard decision sometimes with this stuff. I'm making hard decisions. I don't want to make a mistake. First of all, in business, you can make mistakes. It's forgiving. Business is forgiving, ladies and gentlemen. There's amendments. It's forgiving. Once you figure out that you did do something wrong, how about we fix it? How do you not commingle funds? When you know that you did, you fix it immediately. So then it's not commingling anymore. It's commingling when you don't fix it. Appreciate everybody for tuning live, listening to replay. Look forward to seeing y'all in Chicago on the 26th this month. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy. Look forward to y'all coming. Just to let y'all know we're gonna upload another episode today where you all can see the episode that we did or hear the episode that we did with Tiffany, and her just at the workshop, just knowing that she's somebody that's been trained dual capacity from both mentors, ultimate student, and focused on growing the estate properly. So appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to seeing y'all at the workshop. Peace.